Alright, so a few people have asked me what video editing software I use to make these videos. And to make a long story short, it used to be PrAe Pro, because that's what college mean we use for class, and it's the industry standard or something. But as brilliant as PrAe is when it works, I found myself getting more and more sick of Adobe and their predatory practices. So when I graduated last year, and after a little bit of research, I switched to a different, cheaper video editor, that being Hitfilm Pro. Now, if you use PrAe or even After Effects, the best way I can describe Hitfilm is a stripped down version of PrAe combined with a stripped down version of After Effects, which that probably sounds like it would be a mess, and in some ways, yeah, it is. Many of the effects are marked as layer only, meaning you have to create composite shots to use them. And those very composite shots are the closest thing you can have to nested sequences. You can't even copy clips or effects or even keyframes from editor to composite shot, which is kinda dumb. And so are all the missing features like advanced export options or NKV support, or captioning, or all the collaborative tools, or how the overall performance of the video is subpar, or how rendering takes forever, or how it just completely botches the audio side of things with limited effects that are mostly just different types of reverb, and all these other little quirks that just make no sense. Like, you can't even import animated GIFs. You have to split the GIF into its individual frames and then import all those frames together as an image sequence, and even then it doesn't loop and you have to manually set your frame rate for it, and it's just, why? It's just all these little things with Hitfilm that make it less than a perfect video editor. But hey, for half the price of PrAe and a quarter of Creative Cloud, you get what you pay for. And to be fair, aside from most of these little quirks, it really is just PrAe and After Effects combined together, which is something I've always wanted. A non-linear editor to composite and stitch video together, and a VFX toolset like After Effects to make assets. In fact, Hitfilm's similarities to both PrAe and After Effects are pretty much why I went with it over something like DaVinci Resolve, as my prior experience with PrAe made it very easy to get the hang of things. I mean, look at it. It's PrAe, down to many of the same key bindings and everything. And in some ways it's even better. The viewer, lag aside, is far superior. It allows you to zoom in and out with your scroll wheel, and it lets you drag objects around to move and even rotate them. And when working in composite shots, it also handles 3D much more intuitively, with better 3D model importing, viewport navigation, a grid and axes, handles to move 3D elements, layer-based camera switching, and automatic camera placement upon adding a 3D plane or model. And after a bit of time, I've managed to find the effects in Hitfilm to be easier to grasp and use, assuming you have Pro. And best of all, it doesn't force updates onto you like Adobe does. All it does is lightly remind you that there's a new update and completely leaves it up to you to download it. Which I like, because I get to say, hell no, because apparently the latest version of Hitfilm is broken. Yeah, if you were to check the Hitfilm subreddit, half of the new posts on there are from people announcing their intent to leave Hitfilm behind because of various different issues like the viewer and exported videos flickering, render times getting way too long, and lack of community support, you name it. Like, the entire subreddit is just people telling each other to switch to DaVinci. And yeah, this is the point where I feel it's best to spread the message to you guys. Don't bother with Hitfilm at all. Don't buy it, don't use it for free, just use something else. It is a dying video editor that has been ruined by one of the worst business decisions I've ever seen. You see, Hitfilm used to have an incredible free version called Hitfilm Express. It directly competed with DaVinci Resolve as one of the best free video editors on the market, and you could easily buy additional effects and plugins to really take it to the next level. Or you could just buy a perpetual license and get it all, along with 12 months of free updates, and everything was good. Until mid-2022, when FX Home, the creator of Hitfilm, was acquired by Artlist, some kind of, a stock media company or something. And with this acquisition came this revamp of Hitfilm, which, at face value, it seems pretty neat, but to literally everyone else who used Hitfilm for years upon years prior to this, it was a nightmare. As with this new overhaul, Artlist decided to discontinue Hitfilm Express in favor of this new, gutted free version of Hitfilm. And anyone who was suckered into upgrading to this new overhaul now had to deal with watermarks and resolution restrictions and like a dozen upgrade buttons plastered all over the screen. With the cherry on top being that all of the old plugins people bought already for Express not working anymore without buying a subscription to Hitfilm Pro. Yeah, they turned Hitfilm into rentware, just like Adobe. And of course, silly me, never having even heard of Hitfilm before, not knowing of the absolute level of betrayal that just happened, I got suckered into buying Pro, because it was much cheaper than Premiere and it was pretty much the same program to me. Which, yeah, in my defense, I was just trying to run away from the cult of Adobe, and this really seemed to be all that. Core of the price, 2 programs of one, same workflow pretty much. It really seemed perfect for me, alright? And that's the worst part. I really do enjoy using the Hitfilm I know, and I'm probably gonna still keep using this version for as long as I can because it doesn't have any of these issues people are having now. But with how uncertain Hitfilm's future seems, with how some of the staff are leaving and even the forums are gone and the support staff are just not answering anybody, I just don't know. I just can't recommend Hitfilm to anyone, even as an alternative to Adobe. With programs like Kdenlive and especially Resolve around, which both offer much more for free and have active developers who don't just revoke access to plugins you already paid for, there really is no reason to use Hitfilm anymore. Unless you just so happen to be me, in which case, yeah, so long as I have a night counter, I'll probably be happy.